As someone who did public speaking for quite a few years, one of the hardest parts is having notes in front of you to follow along with. Well, today I'm going to show you a great way to have those notes using Evernote and an iPad. What's up, VIPs? Derek here, back with another video where it's all about helping you discover life after sight loss. On this channel, we do product reviews, life advice, encouragement, how-tos, and so much more. So if you're new here and that sounds good to you, consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss another single video. Like I said, one of the hardest parts about public speaking or sharing with somebody in an open way like that is having notes. Most people will create an outline, they'll be able to follow along with it. I preached for quite a few years, and so I had to have scripture memorized. You have to memorize everything. And while your memory gets really good, it can be hard because you're wondering, what's the next point? What's my next point here? I don't remember. So I have found a great way to do this, which I've been using for a few years now, where I use Evernote and my iPad to follow along with, and it's really, really great. So let me show you how I start and end up with using the iPad and Evernote. So I'm on my Mac here, and I've got Evernote pulled up, and I'm going to create a note. Now, if you don't have Evernote, it's a free program. You just sign up for an account, and it's totally free. You can download it for the Mac and the iPad and everything. Now, here's the key. I think they have limitations on how many things you can use it on and so forth, like if you can use it on the Mac and the iPad and all that sort of thing, but you can try it out for free and see if it's going to work for you, and then I think it's like a yearly fee. Now, I use Evernote constantly, and I'm putting things in Evernote all the time, so for me it's totally worth it, but for you it may not be. It's just one of those things you might want to see what the cost is and if it's cost effective for you. So I'm starting with Evernote here on my Mac, and I'm just going to start a note. So let's just call it sample note. That seems pretty boring, right? All right. So now let's make some points here that I would be talking about. Okay. So here is my first point. Then I'll go down. Let's say here is my second point. Okay. And then you can just go down and so on and so forth. Now, remember when you're typing things, you want to type like you want to hear it and then speak it normally. What am I meaning? So here on this, let's say I'm going to be using a Bible verse. Now, you may not have a Bible verse and that's not important to you, but for me, it was for a lot of years. Let's say I'm going to do like the book of Mark, okay? So normally you would hit Mark and then you type like 6:14. But the way it's going to read it to you is 6:14 maybe. So for me, I like to type, let's see, Mark and then chapter and then 6, and then type verse 14. Now, that will read it to me, Mark chapter 6, verse 14. So in my ear, I'm going to hear it like that, and we'll get to that in just a minute. So again, you would just type out some points, and you would say, whatever the case may be, type it all out here. You can even do like outline format. Let's say I want to do point 1, and then here it is, and then point 2, here is some more, and so on and so forth. You can create a whole outline, whatever makes sense to you in your head. And remember to break it up in lines. So everything on a line is going to be a right swipe, and that'll make sense in just a minute. So if you have a long piece of text, break it up. If you got a paragraph, break it up into bullet points or into lines, enter down, and then break it up, and that'll make more sense to you. So let me go up here, and I'm going to sync this up, okay? And then I'm going to go over to my trusty iPad. So now I'm in my iPad, and up here at the top, it's already refreshed.
Selected 10:57 11:04 a.m. Sample note.
Sample note. So I'm going to double tap on that.
Life after sight loss. Enter full screen button.
And now it's gone to say enter full screen. I like to do this because it helps me know where I'm at. So I'm going to enter full screen.
Enter full screen.
And then one thing I also like to do is use Siri, if you can, turn on invert colors. Now, that white text is going to pop off of the background a little better. Just a little trick if you want to do that. So first I like to go up here in the corner,
More button.
go to More, because then when I swipe right,
Here is my fist point.
I typed fist. Apparently you need to make sure to proofread. So anyway, that takes me to my first point. Then I swipe right again.
Here is my second point.
Here is my second point.
Mark chapter 6 verse 14.
Mark chapter 6 verse 14.
1. List start.
Now, here in the list, it's going to read 1.
Here it is.
Here it is.
2.
2.
Here is some more. List.
Here is some more. So it's going to read it in the list. If you put it, and it like, let me see if I can show it over here. If you can see this, it'll indent and then it'll read the 1 and then the thing, and the 2 and then the thing. Instead of 1, blah, 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 it's going to stop at the 1, which I actually like, but you can set that up differently. Now, what you do for this is you get yourself a Bluetooth headset. Now, they're kind of annoying and they're very 2002, but you get yourself a Bluetooth headset. Maybe an earpod or an AirPod from Apple would work. Something that's going to be very minuscule in your ear. You sync that up with your iPad. Then as you're going through things, you're able to hear it, but the audience isn't. So if I want to go back, then I'll hear, here is my second point. And I hear that in my ear, and I can just out loud speak it.
Mark chapter 6, verse 14.
So then I'll go down and say, Mark chapter 6, verse 14 says this. Here's my first point. Here it is. And so I'm able to go through it with my ear. Now, this takes a little bit of getting used to because you're actually repeating what you hear in your ear outward to the rest of the audience. So it takes a little bit of finagling and getting used to. But this has changed the way I public speak. It's changed the way that I share things with people in a space, like if I'm in a session with somebody, if it's a group, if it's a public space, whatever it is, I'm able to share that through my iPad and Evernote. So it is a great way to do it, and I found, again, that is probably the best way for me to do notes, outlines, and everything in a public way. So there you go, guys. There is ways that you can do outlines and public notes and everything when you're speaking in front of people. So did you find this helpful? Do you like this? Do you have more questions about it? I'd love to hear about it. And how do you do notes in front of people? I'd love to know. I'm sure others would as well. So let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you like this video, if you found it helpful, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, share it with somebody you know, and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss another single video. And until next time, remember that sight loss isn't the end, it's just the beginning. My name is Derek Daniel from lifeaftersightloss.com, and I'll see you in the next one.